So I saw this story this morning. Let's lead with this. It is kind of reaching perhaps a tipping point. Jamal Adams, top 10 player in the NFL, top 10 football player. He's that good. Basically now going on social media, get me out, get me out. Now Jets aren't reacting to it, so now he throws his coach under the bus. He calls the New York Daily News, one of their reporters, and says he's uncomfortable with the future of the Jets because of Adam Gase, and he clashes with stars. Now, at the end of last year, Gase benched him for a few plays. It was a game against Cleveland last year. I forget it. I think it was early in the year, and he benched him for a few plays. And Gase does have a history of trading, moving off, or battling some high-profile players. But the answer for every NFL fan of a bad team or an underachieving franchise is always fire the coach. That's always the answer, because you can't fire all the players. So psychologically, it makes fans feel like, yeah. I mean, we're just one guy away, and we are Super Bowl champs. Of course, the problem when you do that is, A, organizational instability, because most bad teams hire and fire too many coaches. The other bad thing is if you have a young quarterback, he's got to learn an entirely new system again. And, of course, most great football coaches already have jobs. That's the way it works in America. Really talented people have people fighting over them, and they're usually already employed and making a lot of money. Name me the current great football coach in America who's unemployed. Name me the great current football coach in America who the Jets could get. I mean, I'll throw a name out. Brian Kelly, Notre Dame, I'd look at. Offensive guy, had multiple successes in college, but he's never coached pro. I know he's kind of had his agent dabble around the NFL. But, folks, Adam Gase has been an NFL coach. And when Ryan Tannehill started in Miami, Adam Gase had a winning record, 13-11. Do you realize Bill Parcells' career winning percentage in the NFL is about 55%? Adam Gase was a 55% winning coach when Ryan Tannehill started. Now, Tannehill got hurt a bunch, and there's a bunch of different quarterbacks, as Joey can attest as a Dolphin fan. But he had a winning record. And then last year, his quarterback got mono. He's got a terrible roster. The GM they had to fire, and they had a 7-6 record when Sam Darnold started. So when Sam Darnold or Ryan Tannehill, with average rosters, have started, he is 3 games over 500, and he's coached, about 30, 35 NFL games. Now, you say that's not great. Has he had great rosters? Has he had great GMs? Has he had great owners? Tell me who's out there. I'm waiting. Great people are usually employed. And even college coaches now that make $7 and $8 million. The Dallas Cowboys got turned down by the Oklahoma Sooners. Lincoln Riley said, nah. The Jets wanted Matt Rule. He wasn't even coaching at a college football power. He was coaching at Baylor. He's like, hard pass on New York. That's the world we live in. Great anything. Podcasters, football coaches, lawyers have a lot of options. And what the fans of average to below average organizations never understand, good people don't want to work for you. They don't. I like Rex Ryan. I like Eric Mangini. I like Herm Edwards. I like Adam Gase. They all have losing records, all losing career records with the Jets. Nobody wins there. The last coach to have a career-winning record there was Al Groh. He spent 1 year, 9-7, and left for college. And we were all like, I wonder why he did that. Maybe the answer is ownership, the Jets, front office, it's the Jets. Roster, it's the Jets. So, first of all, Jamal Adams doesn't get along with Adam Gase. Here's my question. To Sam Darnold? Yeah, that's all I care about. If Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, they click, I can live with other disgruntled employees. If Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh, simpatico, works, I can deal with an occasional disgruntled safety. Adam Gase wants more money. He yelled and screamed, and the Jets went, whatever. And so the next step is throw the coach under the bus. And I like Jamal Adams, but I don't hate Adam Gase, and Sam Darnold likes him. Now, at the end of this year, if the Jets go anything below 8-8, all right, make a coaching change. But just know You will not get the best candidate on the market. You will not get the best candidate in New York. The Giants would get the better candidate. So, the answer is always, it's like you're chasing your tail when you're the Jets or the Browns or the Lions. The answer is always, fire this guy and hire a new coach. But all that does is turn off people with options who want stability for their wife, their 2 kids they'll put in a school in Michigan. They don't want to have to pull them out 3 years later. So I would be very reluctant to ever fire a coach if he has a winning record with franchise quarterbacks. Gase had that in Miami with Tannehill, and last year, 7-6 with Sam Darnold. Well, if you hate Tom Brady, and I know, listen, we all acknowledge he's great, but it's football, right? You don't like any quarterback that always beats yours. I mean, poor Joy Taylor, her entire life is a series of Tom beating the Steelers in Miami. You can acknowledge his greatness. He's irritating. So PFF came out, Pro Football Focus. They grade every player. This is what they do. They grade guards. And they came out with the best rosters in the NFL. And, we would all guess, well, the Ravens and the Niners and the Chiefs and the Saints, well, those were obvious, the first 4. And look who's number 5. Oh, it's the Buccaneers. And they didn't get that rating just because of Tom and Gronk. They have the 5th best roster in the NFL. And it's funny. So let's go back to 2012 when Peyton Manning chose the Broncos. Now, he had lots of suitors and lots of options, right? He was a free agent. Just like college, he was being recruited. If you go back to the team he took, so Peyton Manning's a smart guy, he's been in the league forever. What did Denver have? Ryan Clady was an all-pro left tackle, so Peyton knew my butt's protected. They had Eric Decker and Demaryius Thomas. They had good weapons. So when he's looking at all these teams, they had good weapons, a good left tackle. They had great corners, Champ Bailey and Chris Harris, and they had Elmas Dumerville and Von Miller. So here is Peyton Manning looking at Denver. He's like, I got my weapons. And they actually ran the ball pretty well, not great. I've got my weapons. I know I have great corners and a pass rush. And they got to the playoffs with Tim Tebow. Like, I'm the missing piece. It was not a rebuild in Denver. Well, then Tom Brady looks at Tampa. They have the best receiving duo in the league. Nobody denies that. Arguably the best tight end duo in the league. The best young linebacking core in the league with Devin White, Levante Davis, and Shaq Barrett, who led the NFL last year with 19.5 sacks, and they have good pass rushers. So again, he looks at that and thinks, Jameis Winston threw for 33 touchdowns? I'm the missing piece. So when you're Brady and you're Peyton Manning, it's not just about X's and O's. These are highly sophisticated guys that have played in the NFL for, a decade and a half, and they know what you have to enter. So Manning saw weapons, a Pro Bowl guy to protect his butt on the O-line, corners and pass rushers. I'm going to be in games. I don't have to save the franchise. I'm the missing piece. Brady sees the same things. I've got vertical perimeter weapons, interior tight end weapons, good enough, sneaky good O-line, and on the defense, I got the best linebacking core, and they get to the quarterback, just like Denver and Manning. So Tom Brady's saying, the other quarterback will generally face more pass rush than I will, because Denver had a sneaky good O-line, and actually, Tampa Bay, now that they've solved right tackle, has a really sneaky good O-line, especially center, left guard, left tackle. So I think the bad news for people is Denver was really good. There's a reason that Tebow got to the playoffs. Just think about this with Tampa. I think Joe and I talked about this. The fact that a quarterback could throw 30 interceptions and a half dozen pick sixes in a division with the Saints, who you got to play twice a year, and 3 weeks out before the end of the season, they were in a playoff picture. They were playing well. So I think Brady takes a page from Peyton Manning's book and just says, I'm the missing piece. If a quarterback can throw 30 picks, and this team's a game under 500. So I don't think we quite understand that Tampa's got the best receiving duo in the NFL, arguably now the best tight end duo in the NFL, and along with Pittsburgh, I'd argue the most athletic young linebacking core in the NFL. Insert win games. I think it's pretty simple. By the way, show the top 10 again. These are the 10 most, according to PFF, they grade every roster in the NFL. I would agree with the Ravens 1. Niners secondary is not great, so I would put the Saints 2, Niners 3, Kansas City 4. And then I think there's some surprises here. Bucs 5. Cowboys have a bad secondary, but 6. I think what happens is the first 4 teams feel like you've got more stars. I mean, Ravens, Saints, Niners, Chiefs. You got real superstars. By the way, Ravens are about the only team in the NFL to me that doesn't have a hole. The Saints do not have an athletic, nimble quarterback right now in Breeze. He's older. They don't throw the ball down the field. The Ravens, to me, are virtually the perfect team if Lamar takes one more step. That roster has no holes. But in a salary cap era, the Saints quarterback is not overly dynamic. The 49ers secondary is not great. The Chiefs defense was good at the end of the year, not good early. Buccaneers had to figure out right tackle. Not a great running game. Cowboys secondary is bad. Bills offensive line has been rebuilt. I don't think it's great, but it's been rebuilt. The Titans are not dynamic throwing the ball down the field, to be honest. Philadelphia's wide receiving core looks talented, but it needs some perimeter pop. It can be pretty stagnant. And I think the Steelers right now, running back isn't dynamic. Wide receiver, Juju Smith-Schuster, you cross your fingers on. He's not really a game breaker. He's a very good wide receiver. But the Ravens, to me, are the only team in the league. It's hard to argue. I don't see the weakness. It was pass rush, Calais Campbell, weakness over. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.